Hey everybody, welcome to the MacoTheProducer channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the differences between paid and free software, specifically music software. And if you guys don't know who I am a music producer from Grand Rapids. I also do video work and photography, as well as producing for people and DJing. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Now, before we get any farther into the video, I want to thank today's sponsor, my mom. Thank you so much for believing in me. Anyway, if you're new to this channel, please like, comment, subscribe, share, follow on Instagram, Facebook, and I'll probably hopefully put them somewhere here or there or there or there. But anyway, so if you're wanting to be a music producer or a producer of any kind, but today we're going to be talking specifically about music software. This doesn't pertain just to music software. I have had some of the same struggles with video software, so this can kind of include both. Also, I'm going to try and keep this video in 5 minutes to 10 minutes instead of like 20 minutes like the last one. All right, so if you're wanting to be a producer, there is tons of free and paid software out there, tons of different options. If you Google how to make dubstep once, you'll know all about the drip plugin, which I'm sure you've seen on Facebook. Literally everywhere. Okay, so free software. Let's talk about this one first. Benefits. What are the benefits of free software? Well, benefit number one is there's no risk. The most important thing when it comes to doing music production and things like this is it's kind of like hard work. You do want to decide if you want to get into music producing and if you have the patience for it, because there is a lot of time. It's very time consuming, and I mean I've been doing this for like 8-9 years and only recently have been getting good. Like, it takes a lot of dedication and time. The cons are it tends to be hard to use free software. So using free software, in my opinion, is a good starting point for people who want to like get their feet wet. Sometimes though, the problem with using free software is it doesn't give you an accurate representation of like what the process is like on better software. It also has less support and usually less tools. So let's take, for example, LMS. Okay, LMS is what I started on. It's what I knew back in the day, and now I've switched over to Ableton Live 10. So we've got LMS over here, free, easy to download, relatively easy to like get started. There's tutorials out there, a couple mine. You can go check those out here. Anyway, the problem with LMS and the reason I moved away from it is it's not supported by a team of developers that get paid. At least as far as I can tell, it's not their full-time job. So it's really a hobby project. There's a lot of bugs in it, and there's a lot of things. I'll give you an example. In Ableton Live 10, one of the sweetest things is warping. There's nothing even remotely close to warping in LMS. It also, LMS, not to poo-poo on it, because I know I've made a couple videos on it, but LMS is not something I would recommend for vocal production. If you want to produce vocals and things like that, I mean, Audacity is probably your better bet for that, but again, like, you're using more than one program. So, yeah. Another thing is plugins, free programs. I know there's other software besides LMS, so sometimes this might not be the case, but in LMS at least, plugins are not great. They crash all the time, things like that. And I think in my notes here, I was going to talk about free plugins and free samples. Free plugins, there are some pretty decent free plugins. Plugins are different than software in some instances, but there are some plugins that you probably should pay some money for. And I'll talk about my recommendation for plugins and samples later on in the video. Let's talk about paid software now. Paid software, the benefits of it are better support, tailor-made tutorials, potentially better sounds faster. Some of the cons with it are it's still hard to use. I mean, like I said, making music is an art, takes some time. Same thing can be said with video software. It still takes time, but maybe the expensive software is easier to get your hands wet with. The other problem that I've found with expensive software and switching to a DAW like Ableton, or even FL Studio will have this issue too. Most DAWs will. Problems with too many possibilities. What I mean by that is, like, there's so many options. I think sometimes creativity gets inspired by limitation. So, and the other thing is they cost money. Probably the biggest con to paid software, obviously, is it gets expensive. Ableton right now, what is it, like $400 brand new? And that's not even the full version. The version I have is like $900 normal price. I got it on sale. That's why I could afford it. Ableton's a bad example because it's more expensive than FL Studio. Anyway, I know I'm rambling. So anyway, I want to touch on plugins and samples again. So I do think that there are some definite benefits to paying for plugins and samples. They're usually better. Again, same thing with software is they do have support. And the samples packs that you can get for some of the prices that you pay for them are like just essential. Drums, for example, there's way better, in my opinion, drum samples that you pay for, or at least like have a subscription for. I'm looking at you, Splice. So, to recap, I know I'm getting a little long here, but I want to talk about my recommendation. My recommendation would be, if you're just starting out in music production, get your hands wet with some free software, okay? LMMS is not the only free DAW out there. There's other DAWs that are different, have their own things. Get your hands wet with the software. Get used to making music and kind of the workflow, understanding that workflow. And then on top of that, get some free plugins. I mean, Synth One is one that everyone talks about as a good synthesizer. I personally haven't used it a lot. I just use the stock synths the most. But there are some free plugins. I know some people that are bigger producers than I am, and they use free plugins all the time. So that's not unheard of. And samples, what I would recommend is going to a website like freesound.com, which I'll put, yeah, freesound.com, or is that what it's called? freesound.org. freesound.org, okay? And this is definitely where I started some of my samples that I got. For those of you that are new to LMMS, I will say the sample library is not great. Don't use it. I would just not recommend it. So, and then once you get your hands wet with some of this free stuff, you kind of need to figure out, like, intentionally, what do I need? Like, for myself, I realized I couldn't make professional beats for people or speak the lingo of other people, because I'd say, hey, I make a track with LMMS, and they'd be like,
what is that? He's not a real producer.
So I decided to go with Ableton Live. And what you can do to get started with expensive software is look for a free trial. That is the biggest thing. I'll put that up on the screen so you don't forget it. Look for the free trial. Ableton Live, I'm pretty sure, gives you like 3 months right now. And FL Studio lets you use it. You just can't save anything. And I'm not just recommending those two. There's Cubase. There is Pro Tools if you're more into like live recording stuff. If you're on a Mac, Logic is a great choice as well. I know plenty of people on that. My recommendation, start with some free software. Get comfortable learning some plugins. Not too many of them, just some. Find some free samples that are better than the stock sounds that are coming with your DAW. And then when you decide, hey, I can make something that's not amazing, but like I'm getting the hang of the workflow and this is something I enjoy putting time into, start investing some money into it. You will have to invest some money to get better at music production and all of that. So I would recommend that. And then something I personally do is I pay for Splice, which is not very expensive. I also pay for the monthly rent-to-own Serum plan. Yeah, so if you guys enjoyed that video, want more, I am trying something new. I'm going to make a few YouTube videos today in batch and then release them on a more consistent basis. I had a friend today who was like, hey man, have you been doing a lot with music production? And I have, but you guys don't see that a lot because it's behind the scenes. So we're going to do more. Again, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for checking it out. I'll see you guys in the next video.